CRLA Foundation was created in 1981 in response to restrictions that Congress placed on legal services providers. They were not able to help out the undocumented, and they were not able to file class action lawsuits. CRLA Foundation was created so that we could fill this gap, so that we could serve the undocumented farm workers of California, and specifically the Central Valley. CRLA Foundation seeks to improve the working conditions of farm workers and the rural poor in California. We provide a voice for farm workers in the fields, in the legislature, and in the courts. Through our community outreach and education, we educate farm workers about their rights and how to advocate for those rights. In the legislature, we make sure that our governor and our legislature understand what the laws are that are impacting the farm workers on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes we have to litigate some of these cases in our courts. The work that we do is so important because farm workers are being exploited on a daily basis by growers who don't pay them enough, or sometimes don't even pay them their wages, who don't give them proper rest periods, who don't provide clean water or shade, and it's important for them to have a voice to help advocate on their behalf, and we are there to do that for them. CRLA Foundation has been around for over 30 years. We have a lot of expertise on agricultural worker rights and the immigration rights. We also are the only organization that serves farm workers in this multifaceted approach of community outreach, looking at what the community needs, in the legislature, advocating for better laws to help our farm workers, as well as in the courts so that their rights are being enforced. We also collaborate with our local law schools, our legal services providers, and our private attorneys to provide needed services in the Central Valley for our farm workers and the rural poor. CRLA Foundation has been doing the work of serving farm workers for over 30 years. Our staff is dedicated and committed. They live and work in the areas, in the communities that we serve. They also have gained their trust throughout the years by going into the fields, labor camps, teaching farm workers about their rights, and teaching them how to advocate on their behalf. Many of the people we serve are fearful. They are undocumented and they don't know who to trust. But they can trust us because they see us every day out in the fields, in the labor camp, teaching them their rights, explaining what the law is, and advocating for them in the courts and in our legislature. CRLA Foundation has a small staff, and because of this, we believe that it is important to train farm workers to be leaders in their community, to go out to the fields, to labor camps, and in the communities that they serve, and do Know Your Rights presentation. Every year we track the number of leaders that we create in these rural communities. We also believe that it is important to change laws that impact farm workers in a negative way. And so at the end of the year, we see how many laws we've supported to make these changes. And lastly, the Central Valley does not have high-quality immigration services. In order to fill this need, we do workshops throughout the Central Valley where we explain what their rights are under the immigration law and where we help them become citizens. We track the number of workshops that we conduct each year, as well as the number of farm workers that eventually become citizens. Most people would be surprised to know that we do not receive any federal funding. that we rely on individual donors and foundations to carry out our work. People would also be surprised to know that our attorneys and staff leave the office on a regular basis. They go out into the fields to talk to farm workers about their rights. They go into churches to deliver workshops on citizenship and immigration. And they go to labor camps to discuss the housing conditions of the camps. We do this in conjunction with the leaders that we train because we believe this is the most effective way to reach the communities that we serve. We have recovered millions of dollars of unpaid wages owed to farm workers in the Central Valley. But more importantly, we have changed the way growers do business in California. Growers are now respecting workers' rest periods and creating safe worker conditions like all other workers in the state of California. In addition, we are proud of the fact that we have helped over 36,000 farm workers become U.S. citizens and help them integrate into the fabric of society. Sierra Life Foundation does not receive federal funding, and this has sometimes made it difficult for us to keep our doors open. In addition, we are fighting the perception that the people that we serve, the undocumented, do not deserve basic protection under the laws because they are here illegally, but because they are the most exploited and vulnerable people in our society. They deserve to have people champion their rights and fight for basic working conditions. With additional resources, we would increase our capacity to serve farm workers and the rural poor in the Central Valley. The Central Valley is so spread out that it's hard to reach everyone who truly needs the help. Most of our farm workers don't have their own transportation and depend on us to go to them so that they can actually get the needs served. We would increase our staff and open different satellite offices in the areas that most need the help in the Central Valley. We are seeing an increasing number of indigenous people who do not speak English or Spanish, who have needs similar to our other farm workers. And we would like to increase our ability to be able to help them in a way that is sensitive to their culture and in a language that they can understand us. We would also like to provide more services to our aging farm worker population. As they age, they have health needs specific to their years of working in the fields. And they also don't have a retirement system that they can count on to live the rest of their lives in comfort. So these are two areas that California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation would like to focus in the future.